Being named to the U.S. Olympic team is one thing, but becoming a 12-time medalist is an entirely different story. It's the story of the great Olympic swimmer Dara Torres. Well, now Dara is on a new mission out of the pool to prevent the spread of a form of bacterial meningitis, a disease that affects the lining that surrounds the brain and spinal cord. It can cause severe brain damage and, according to the World Health Organization, is fatal in 50% of cases. Dara is part of the Get in the Game campaign and is here to tell us all about it. So, Dara, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too. So you're on a new mission and you're kind of new to this cause, but you felt that it was important as a mother to kind of spread awareness. So for those who are not familiar, because you yourself said you weren't too familiar,
right.
What exactly is meningitis and why is it so scary?
Well, meningitis is very scary, and like you said, I knew nothing about it. I didn't know there were vaccines out there, but it's a bacterial disease, and it can cause fluid around your brain tissue. You can get fluid around your spinal cord. You can get kidney damage, blood infection, and what can be an otherwise healthy child can die within 24 hours if they can contract this disease. So I really want to get out there and spread the word to parents about the danger and the prevention of meningococcal meningitis.
Yeah, the speed of it is what's so scary, where every minute, every hour counts. And the symptoms are described as kind of flu-like, and that's also frightening because people might just shake it off. It might feel like a common virus. So when do you know when to contact your doctor, and when do you know, so you don't think you're overreacting? When is time to call your doctor? I know you're not a doctor, but what's the recommendation?
Well, you know, the whole point is that you don't want to have to call the doctor. You want to get this vaccine in order to not worry about it. You know, I'm working on a campaign called Get in the Game, and it's powered by Voices of Meningitis. And there are two women who have gone through this. One where it happened within 14 hours, and she lost her fingers and her lower legs. And another woman who was in college and was a Division I basketball player who lost her arms below the elbows and also below the knees, and that happened within 20 hours. And so they had flu-like symptoms. They got really cold and had the chills, and also was sweating a lot. So it's very hard to detect because it is like having a flu. But what I'm trying to get the word out there is talk to your health care provider. It can spread easily through athletes, and that's why it's kind of close to home to me, because being in sports for so long, you share water bottles, you share equipment, you're in closed quarters. So, you know, if you go and get physicals before you have, you know, your sporting activities, talk to your health care provider about it. My daughter, who's 7, I just talked to her doctor about it, and most kids are supposed to get vaccinated and their shots when they're about 11 or 12 years old, and they get a booster shot when they're 16.
Is there any reason not to get the vaccine? Some people are so worried about getting a vaccine, but is there any drawback, or should you just do this when you have a young child? You
know, the vaccine is generally safe, and you know, the CDC and pediatricians recommend you get the vaccine. I know that I'm definitely going to have my daughter get it. I don't want to have to worry about it. I have 2 stepchildren that have had the vaccine, and that's the best prevention, is getting vaccinated.
Yeah, and you mentioned student athletes, but really you hear about this with college students too, because you're in the dormitories, and it's the close contact of young people that makes the risk of spread so kind of dangerous in that age group. Tell me a little bit more about Voices of Meningitis. They're on Facebook, and there's something I read called Health Talker, where people can kind of share their stories that they're trying to get out there?
Yeah, well, if your audience goes to facebook.com/Voices of Meningitis, they can find out more about this team. It's an unbelievable group that really tries to spread the word about meningitis. You hear all different stories. It talks about the vaccination, and so you really can get an understanding, education about the cause.
And while we have you here, tell us a little bit more about what you've been up to. And I mean, still hours in the pool, or not scaled back?
I'm actually,
you still look like you're spending hours in the pool.
You know, I haven't touched the water since the Olympic trials last year when I missed the team by 9/100ths of a second. My daughter swims, so I go to her practices, and I just have to bite my tongue, not tell the coaches what to do, you know. But, you know, I'm keeping busy. I'm really enjoying being a spokesperson for this cause, and I'm enjoying being a mom and having more time with my daughter, too.
Well, you're an inspiration and obviously doing great work, so it's so nice to meet you, and thanks for coming.